with a very special guest on the Mastering Your Media series. Her name is TC Cooper. She's an amazing person, a great friend. She's an attorney, but she's also going to be my partner in crime here on this interview, talking about mastering your media. So without further ado, TC, welcome.
Hey, Jason, thank you so much for inviting me on Mastering Your Media. I'm so excited to bring our personal conversations about all of these geeky topics to your show.
Absolutely. And and let me kind of give you a little background. Now, I met TC years ago on social media. I think we first met on Blab, which is no longer here, unfortunately, because that was an amazing platform. And then we ran into each other again on Periscope, and we've been friends ever since. And then I met her in person for the first time last year at the Faithpreneur Weekend 2K19, Dr. Stacey N.C. Grant's platform. Mm-hmm. So, and it was funny because when we met in person, it was like we had known each other all of our lives. It wasn't like, okay, who are you in real life? That, now that I'm seeing you in person, I saw you online, total same person. So we're going to talk about the digital landscape. And so the digital landscape, it takes in actually, we're going to talk about print as well, but the digital landscape takes in so much, and it has so much value if you use it properly, because that value can create businesses. It can create definite business connections, business relationship, along with personal, professional connections. There is really no limit to what it can do when you approach it with the right mindset and the right intention. So TC, what has been your experience online? And because not only do you train other attorneys, okay, let's kind of give you the legitimacy that you deserve. You train other attorneys in how to utilize this social media space and really take what they do and have a certain protocol about how they operate, their business online. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you got to really legitimize this thing. You have to really understand what you're doing so you don't get yourself in hot water. So what is that like for you? And how did you even get into that?
Yep. Those are great questions. I have to say, talking about the power of social media, and you shared, we really just met in person a couple of years ago. And when we met, it's like we've known each other our entire lives, right? It was like, it was almost like, really, are we just really meeting in person? Because that's how deep and how close you can build friendships on social media. They start as social media, friendships on social media, and they turn into real life friendships and real life relationships and partnerships and opportunities to collaborate and to do a variety of things. And so social media for me has been a tremendous platform, a tremendous opportunity to meet and connect and build relationships with people who I might not have ordinarily met, people who I might not meet in my normal course of working, right? Doing business here in Washington, D.C. or New York, New Jersey area when I was in the tri-state area, or down south. I'm from South Carolina. So social media expands the opportunity, the platform, right? For you to meet and to connect with people. And so one of the things that I have been doing for many years now, since 2010, I do train lawyers. I help lawyers leverage the power of social media to increase their impact, to expand their influence, and do it in a way where they are going to be in compliance with ethics rules that govern how we as attorneys have to show up, right? So that people are not doing things, taking actions that are prohibited. And so I do that when teaching lawyers, but I also incorporate that into teaching entrepreneurs, because as you mentioned, in order for social media to really be effective for you and for you not to waste a lot of time, you have to be thoughtful and strategic about how you are using it. And it is my advice that you keep logs and records. Lawyers definitely need to do this, and everyone else too. And keep a log and keep records of what content you've been sending out, where you've been sending content, right? What content? Because as a business owner who's not in a regulated industry, that allows you to repurpose in a way.
Absolutely.
Right? And you can have someone help you come in and do things based on the content that you shared. And if you're in a regulated industry, you have the information that you
That's
need
right.
to maintain for records, right?
Mm-hmm.
Advertising and promoting.
And that's really perfect that you say that, because I think what happens is that a lot of times when folks jump on, and I don't like to use the terms, a lot of times those general terms, I usually like to provide a statistic. I don't have a statistic for this one though, so I'll just say a lot of times when folks go from business to social, when they're trying to run their business using the tool of digital media, social media, they forget that they still have to conduct themselves in a certain manner in order to make sure that they protect their business.
Absolutely.
So by not doing, as such, what ends up happening is that they create a situation that is very difficult to unravel when they don't start out with the right protocol.
Absolutely.
One of the things when I started out years ago, many, many years ago at Time Warner, in video and production and all of that, the initial foray into it was public access. And then I started working for the company. And then from working for the company, I started doing a lot of, well, actually, before I started working for the company, I started getting booked for the commercial shoots. But one thing that they had us do, because they had to protect their best interest. So even though we were public access, we had to adhere to all of the rules that the commercial portion of their business, and that was different. That was unique than any of the other facilities that ran a public access facility, in the space. And what that taught me was that it is better to prepare for your best or worst case scenario, for what you would need if you were operating at this level, than to just come in and only operate at this level without understanding that there is another level to go to.
Absolutely. It's building with the end in mind, right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
now I'm a business coach and business consultant, but I'm trained as a lawyer. I also practice law, and we mitigate risk, right? That's one of the things we do. We take a look at what is possible, and we want to mitigate against that. Now, you got to be careful having that approach as a business owner, because you can't psych yourself out. You have to take some risks.
Right.
Thoughtful, you want them to be calculated, and there is no reason to have the best way to move forward when you're creating content for social media as a business owner is to do what you just said. Is you're planning out your content, you're thoughtful, you know what you're going to share, when you're going to share it, and you've logged it. And I tell you what, social media platforms make it easy for you to do that. It also makes you more intentional and more thoughtful about what you're sharing on social media and what you want it to do for you when you've planned it out. When it's being distributed. But again, on the back end, you want to prepare, you want to have a copy of what you've shared. You want to have it, for us, it's stored in Google Sheets, right? We use Google Sheets, we protect that. And that's the vault. That's the vault of the intellect. We're not talking about intellectual property tonight, but that's like where some of your intellectual
property. Folks, she can. She's that good, okay? Just letting you know. All right.
Listen, Jason, we could talk for hours about so many things. Right? We could go.
And we have. Okay, so now TC, okay, so you said something that is critical. You talked about building with the end in mind. Okay, so Chris, he put your quotable down there. And, and that's actually quite biblical, because, and I love that scripture where it says, in my Father's house, there are many mansions. If it were so, I would have told you. I go there now to prepare a place for you. I was like, that is the perfect business model.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you talk about business and faith, you are the founder of Faith Focused Flow.
Yes.
Can we dive into that and just kind of talk about how that came about? How did that whole thing come to be? Now, I know a little of this story because I remember, but I want you to tell everybody.
Yeah. You were there as a
part. Yeah.
And it shows you the power of social media. So the Faith Focused Flow business brand, my first book, 52 Lessons for Christianpreneurs, that all came as a result of Periscope, from being on Periscope, right? And to be more specific, I remember doing a broadcast, and my business coach, Dr. Will Moreland, basically challenged me.
Oh, Will is something else.
I say challenge, he's a bit of a bully. That's how I felt. I felt bullied. He was like, you need to write a book.
Right.
And I had all these, because I was on Periscope every day teaching, right? And I loved teaching on that platform. And we still have, but we had a beautiful community of business leaders, faith-based business leaders working in non-religious sectors who would come together. And so Will challenged me on a particular podcast to write a book. And I had all kinds of excuses. And he did it in a public setting on my personal channel, right? And people jumped in. Yeah, TC, you should do it. You should write it based on this. And so I had excuse. Well, I don't know. I can't do this. I need somebody to help me do this. On that Periscope broadcast, talk about the power of social media and the power of community. All of the help that I need from an editor, from people to encourage me during the writing, to a community manager, people stepped up from that community. And so over the course of several weeks, I wrote the book, 52 Lessons for Christianpreneurs. And in that community and talking through the lessons, the Lord delivered the name, or kind of downloaded this whole faith-focused flow. The name of the company and the brand really from what I was teaching and how we were gelling together as a community based on faith, focused on that particular product, and it flowed. Everything flowed. So anyway, that's how the first book got written, how the brand was birthed from that.
Notice you said the first book, how the first book got written. Okay. Well, okay. How the first book means that there's more.
Okay, there are more, and they all kind of came from that first book, that 52 Lessons for Christianpreneurs. Because then from that, because of social media, the power of social media, and speaking specifically about Periscope and Twitter and Blab at the time, those were the platforms that we were using. People were able to be a part of the launch of that book, going through that book and asking for additional resources, right? So a planner came from that book, because through social media, but through social media, people were able to tell me that's what they needed. Then a prayer book on corporate prayer was birthed through that project, because again, people were able to tell me what they wanted, and I was able to think about ways to deliver it. And it was through the community that had built using social platforms.
Okay, now I want to stick a pin in that real quick, because when you just said through community and the power of social media, the community element, and this is what I really want folks to, write this down. Your community will inform you of what it is that you need to do next.
Yes.
And so what TC was able to do was leverage that. It was like having a living mastermind, of folks who were inside of her target, because everybody was in that same space of creating their own publication, their own books.
That's right.
And so here it is now. She's like, okay, well, what would help you out if you had this and you're seeing this? Like, what about this gels and what doesn't? And so she was able to leverage everybody's ideas and thoughts and perspectives, their impact with the things. And then she was able to take all of that and make her own decision on how she needed to move forward. So I thought that was amazing, just kind of watching that organically happen.
That's right. That's exactly right. And what it also allowed me to do through our community, it not even allowed me to do it, allowed other people who were aligned with the work to connect. Because of social media, that platform, a dear friend of mine, a phenomenal business owner. I mean, she's been in business for decades. Donna Miller. She is extraordinary. From New Jersey. She popped in and she said, TC, this is good work. How can I support the work? And so we brainstormed, and I tell you, within a week, we were doing a weekly show based
And
on
that was so
Bible-based
awesome.
business practices. And here
Yeah.
we had at that point, still now, but like an uber successful business owner, right? 7 8 figure
Mhm.
business owner who has built her business on a platform of
Mhm.
Bible-based business principles, who was able to see the work that I was doing. We could find a way to gel, and
Mhm.
then off we are to creating something that
Right.
served and continues to serve people, all through social, all because of social media and showing up authentically,
Mhm.
adding value,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Allowing people to
Mhm.
connect with that. And before we move, I just want to say what you are doing, Jason, is amazing, along with Big Harry, with this 100 live stream personal challenge. Like,
Oh.
I've been watching you, gentlemen, and there are other folks who joined in on it. It's
Mhm.
extraordinary because I know from personal experience that showing up in that way
Yeah.
serves people, and
Mhm.
it will serve the work that
Mhm.
you've been called to do in business, because people see the
Yes.
work and they can connect with it.
That's right. That's right. And thank you for that. Yeah, you know what? And it's kind of funny. And I'll be interviewing Harry later on today. But when he came up with this 100 video, the Harry the Big Dog
Harry the
100
Big
video,
Dog.
yes, Harry the Big Dog 100 video live stream challenge, personal challenge. I remember initially I was like, oh, great, I'm going to support my friend. That's my brother. I'll support him. My support meant I would show up into some of his live streams and comment, right? I'll share it out here and there. It was never for me to get involved with it. And then Shauna, Chef Shauna, of Shauna's Sweet Spot, she jumped in
Yes.
because I was coaching her, and then so, in the midst of that, I had asked her about, hey, did you hear about this, that, and the other? And she said, she jokingly says that she really was tempted to lie and say, nah, I didn't get that. But she said she only knew that I would then just send her the link. So she was like, okay, I'd have to just go ahead and fess up. Well, yeah. And then she jumped in. I did not know she was going to jump in on it. So then I was like, wow. And she kind of called me out in the video in her first live stream without calling me out. But it felt like a call out. And I was like, I can't not do it now, because how does my coachee jump in and then I'm sitting back in the sidelines? So I said, okay, let me just jump on in. And I'm going to tell you, I'm so glad that I did, because what it did was it helped to knock the rust off of me. I had a lot of rust,
Yeah.
having not really live streamed consistently since 2015, 2016 with Periscope. And so now it's like I realize and remember why I enjoyed it so much, because you can always offer such value in this medium, you know. You don't
Absolutely.
have to prepare a whole lot. I mean, if you know your stuff, you just know your stuff, and you could just go on in there and then impromptu have an interview like this, you know. And it's just a great way to really help people to help themselves by giving them accurate information. You see so much garbage out there. You and I both have talked about that. You
Yeah.
know, what do you think about that? Let's speak about that. There's, and I don't, of course, this is not to disparage anybody, but you and I have both seen, the gurus out there where you give the person part of the information, but it's not the part that's actually going to help them. And all it does is it sets them up to have to continue to pay and pay and pay, instead of giving them the foundational information and saying, okay, now you know what it is. You understand how it's done. You know how to do it. Now you can make a choice on if you want to do it or if you want to outsource that to get done.
Absolutely.
Let's
I
speak
mean,
to that.
I tell our clients, and I tell friends, people who are part of the community, listen to what people say and what they
Yeah.
what they teach, but watch what they do, right? And this is where you can see if
Mm,
there's a gap. You can
yeah.
see, and we've talked about this a lot, how
Mm,
there are gurus or people out here, whatever, I don't know, whoever they are, people who share things that
mm,
are not reflective of
mm,
what they do. And if you
mm.
pay attention to what they do, pay attention to how you've learned about them,
Right.
right? Pay,
Right.
pay attention to how you see people selling their programs, their products, or their services, or they're talking about advertising in a certain way. Do you see that happening?
Right.
And if the talk, the rhetoric, doesn't match what you were seeing in the marketplace, then you know that there's a gap in
Mhm,
something else is going on behind the scenes that they're
mhm.
doing. that they're not telling you about, right?
We were just talking about that. Yeah.
Just we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
And so social media allows people to say a lot of things, and folks can get totally off track by just listening to what people say, but it also allows you to see what people are doing. You won't see all of it, but you can see if what you hear is in alignment.
And you know what? I think that when it comes to really listening to, and if you know that, God speaks to you, if you have that kind of connection where, and even if not, you got intuition that he gave you, right? And sometimes things just don't feel right. You may not be able to put your finger on it, and that may be the time to pause. Say, okay, well, instead of making a rash decision, because I see a lot of the triggers that are put on, sales copy and all that, nothing against it, but I would rather a sale that the person's well informed so I don't have to deal with the return.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, let me educate you on what this is so that you understand what your commitment is. Because too many times I see where the trigger is, you don't have to do anything. We do all the work, which is a lie. If you're running a business, you have to show up for your business. You really do.
Absolutely.
And so, anybody, unless they just know you, so they have a visceral knowledge of you to where they can literally speak in your voice and understand the dynamics of your company, how it runs, what your systems looks like, how your standard operating procedures move. For them to accurately speak about you, all they can do is produce a series of lies that you're going to have to hold up, or they're going to produce it if you don't plan on holding it up and it's a money grab. So you got to look at all of those things. And if those things don't match up and you can't ask the questions to get answers that satisfy you internally to where you're like, okay, that makes sense, that sounds about right, maybe you shouldn't make that move.
That's exactly right. And it's just that what you said, right? If you need to be able to feel, yeah, this is right. I am in alignment. I get it. Right. I understand scarcity in marketing. And there is sometimes scarcity.
Right.
If someone has a program, it has a live component, then there's likely some scarcity, either the amount of seats that are available or at the time that they want people to enter that program so people can be together, right? So there are reasons that in marketing people will do things where there is a scarcity component, but sometimes the scarcity is not the truth. And again, if you pay attention, then you can see that this is a ploy on my emotion so that I can do something right now. And I'm with you, Jason. Like, I want people to be comfortable and have enough information before they come into something so that they can do the work that's required to get the end result. And so again, it kind of goes back, pay attention to what people are doing and not just what they're saying, but what they're doing. And so I saw a comment in the chat, and it's not about judging them. So I just want to make sure there's no judgment here. What I'm asking you to do is pay attention so that you can see if there is alignment between one thing and the other, so that when you make an investment to follow this person, to pay. I mean, sometimes to an investment could be an investment that you've spent your dollars learning from someone, but an investment is also your time, your energy, your community, because you're going to do what it is that this person has suggested. And so people also grow and people change, right? And so you find out more information and you do things differently. And so even pay attention to the integrity in which people change courses, and make a new decision based on new information, because that is important, right? We don't all get it right. We don't all know everything. Even those of us who've been doing things for a long time, right? I've been in the social media space for a long time. I've been practicing law for a couple of decades, and I can't even believe I said that out loud. I've already said it. I should say I was a child prodigy. So
I started at 3.
Exactly. So I've been practicing for more than 20 years. It has nothing to do with how old I have to be in order for that to be true. But the the whole point is, or, been a business owner for a long time now. Things are new, things change. So there has to be integrity in the whole process. In the pivot, when there needs to be a pivot, when the new information at all has to be in alignment. And so what you are paying attention to, you, me, all of us, process, right? And so, and I saw someone make a comment about spirit.
Yeah, we're going to come back to all the questions and stuff. I'm just letting them pop up so that, and then we're going to go back through and just knock them down. Yeah, because they've got some great stuff coming in here. I was like, oh, this is going to be
I love it.
Yeah.
Right. But this is about you paying attention. Right. So as you are on your journey, you're on your journey with more complete information than you would have if you were not paying attention to the full story.
Yes. Okay, so now let me pop up. Chris Gloss said there should be alignment, and you spoke to that, the alignment piece. And you know what? And here's the thing, and I love what you talked about with the no judgment portion of it, because it's not a matter of good and bad, what's right and wrong. Is it a fit for you? Your business model, does what they've got going on work for how you have things structured or not structured for that matter?
Absolutely.
And if the answer is yes, then you can go forward. That's a green light. If the answer is no, then no matter how great or not great their situation is, it's not a door that you should be walking through.
Absolutely. Okay? And sometimes you got to pause. Maybe you can walk through the door at some point, but until you see the alignment, exactly. That's exactly right.
Perfect. Okay, so then Chris has a question. He says, TC Cooper, what's your view on spiritual versus religious in business?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't plant that question either.
Right, I know. I'm like I said, wow, what a great question to ask the founder of Faith Focused Flow. And you and I have had this conversation, ad infinitum. So this is going to be good.
Yes. And so what I'll say is your spiritual practices, your religious beliefs should be evident in what you do and how you behave, how you treat people, right? How you build systems into your business that model the biblical principles and practices that you say you believe in. And so I believe that your spiritual self, your religious beliefs, your whole kind of positioning as a child of God, as a follower of Jesus, or a person who's following whatever your religious practices are, they should be rooted in what you do. People should be able to see and notice that something is different about you, or they should be able to see that there is something wonderful about how it feels to be in business with you, to be one of your clients, to be a customer, by the care with which you treat, or the care that you take, right, of the people who've invested with you. They should be able to see how you interact with your staff and with your vendors, right? And they should be able to see you live out your faith. So I believe that the spiritual and let me look at the question, spiritual versus religious. I think that who you say you are and what you say you believe has a home in business, and it should be foundational to how you do business as a business owner or as a leader in a non-religious business sector or sector or industry. And that's who we serve, primarily leaders and business owners who don't work in a faith-based community. We serve people who follow Jesus, who work out in the corporate sector, right? In law, in finance, in government. And the core of what we teach is the character of Jesus, right? Which leads with love and concern for humanity, for people, should be evident in everything that the way you follow up with clients and people buy something from you. What's your follow-up look like? Does it show that you care about that person who's bought? We've been talking about truth or integrity in marketing, right? When people see how you market and how you position, did you tell the truth? Now, the government will catch you. The FEC is not messing around, right? The FCC, if you are out here telling untruths. And so they're now kind of laws for people who tell untruth. But But absent telling a blatant lie,
Mm-hmm.
are you positioning things truthfully, honestly, so that people
Right.
who need them can invest, and people who don't need them or people who are not ready will not waste their resources, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I believe. I believe that your spiritual practices, your religious beliefs, all of that should be foundational to who you are and how you show up and your work shows up in the world.
That
That
is
was
awesome.
really long-winded, Jason,
It
but
was
you know,
perfect. It was perfect because I think that, that question requires it to be unpacked, you
mm-hmm.
know, and because that can be such a nebulous area to speak about. And so it does require that it's like, well, no, let's kind of take this kind of line by line here.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to, and I've loved all of our conversations on this. And, you've said exactly what you just said here. Your practices, the way that you come across, you should exude who you are so
Yes.
that people would know that there is something different. I mean, I've got a group of close friends who are like, okay, we won't say certain words around Jason because we don't hear him say them. So okay. And it's not like I'm there judging, because I don't. I've heard many words over my life, but the fact that I operate in a certain way, they just say, no, you know what? We respect where he's at with this. And then, in our meetings and all that, they operate, in the same thing. They try to protect my ears more than I'm saying, hey, I need my ears protected. So it's a beautiful thing when you're around folks like that. Another question here is TC Cooper. What are your thoughts on spiritual manipulation in the marketplace? Ooh, interesting.
What are my thoughts on spiritual manipulation? And so I don't know that I totally understand that question. And so
Mhm.
if by spiritual manipulation, we're also talking about emotional manipulation and how
Okay.
people are
Here's a
responding.
follow-up on that. He says people use spiritual manipulation clothed as marketing scarcity. Okay. Okay. So let me see if and let me know, Chris, if I'm getting this right. Okay. Are you talking about how folks will use things like this may be a poor example, but the Lord really told me to, market to you and to give you this love gift or what have you. And if you, buy this thing at this price, then God's going to bless you. Are you talking about that? If you're talking about that, give me a yes. you know, I've seen that before, unfortunately.
I've
If you're
seen
talking about that, then give me a thumbs up or something. Okay, and so and so if that's the case, if that's what he's talking about, then what are your thoughts on that? I know it's obvious what your thoughts are. I can tell by your expression.
I'm going to say you need to have a relationship with the Lord. I'm going to say that you need to have a prayer life with God
Right.
so that you can hear directly from the Lord.
Okay.
My pastor says all the time. I mean, people come up to tell him what the Lord has told them to tell him. Now, I'm not discounting that this happens sometimes.
Right.
People might be able to have, some people will get a word
Mm-hmm.
for you and share it with you. But you need to have, and this is what I would tell anyone. So you ask me, what do I think about it? What would I tell people? You need to have a relationship with the Lord. You need to have an active prayer life and an active study life so
Yes.
that if someone is saying something to you or you hear something like that, then it is
Mhm.
a confirmation and it's not new information,
Yes.
right? It is a confirmation and it could be that I was reading about this and praying about this morning and I was journaling it. And then I
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation with my brother Jason, and Jason is like, you know what? I think I've heard the Lord say to me this,
Mm-hmm.
to say it
Mm-hmm.
to you. And it's exactly what I wrote down in my
Right.
journal this morning. Then I said, thank you, Jesus.
Right.
And this is something I want to hear. But if someone shares something and it's the first time I've heard it or the first time I've thought about it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't discount it. I put it away to take it back. And this is when we went, Jason, and you were mentioning this kind of rush to do something now. And you
Right.
gotta sow right now in this, or you're gonna miss the blessing. God doesn't work like that. And if
He
it's
says, be anxious for nothing. Right.
right, be Jason.
Yes.
Yes, be
Yes.
anxious for nothing. And if
Nothing.
that wasn't a confirmation, and
Mm-hmm.
if it's a confirmation now, God told you in your private prayer time that
Right.
you are to be sowing more, and it was clear from where you were led to read and to study, and then someone comes to you and says you need to sow here and this is kind of what it is, then it's confirmation, right? It's confirmation. It's not new information. That's not how the Lord works. You don't get new information that you then have to act on right now. Now you can tell me, and listen, biblical scholars out there, my brother Jason, if I'm wrong on this, then you can point me to a place in the Bible where it says that someone can give you new information that you have to act on immediately, or you will lose the blessing. I just don't know of that.
Yeah, and you know, when it comes to that manipulation thing, there's something, and I'll say it from my own perspective, you know, and this does not qualify the statement as truth. I'm just going by my experience, my own personal experience, is that when there are things that don't set right with me spiritually, there's going to be something inside that's like, it'll be like just a quick like, okay. And so that should be all I need in order to not move forward in this direction, to look closer and say, okay, I just got to check. Let me see what that is. Because at this point, now I know that I'm operating within the right construct, because God already said for me to be anxious for nothing. Like, don't rush to anything. He also told me, hey, in a multitude of counsel, there's wisdom.
Yes. Okay? A multitude of counsel.
Yes. So then I will run it by folks that I have inside of my community that I trust, that and not that I trust because I'm just going off my own intellect, but they have proven to be trustworthy. That's and right. To be very shrewd in their thinking, wise in their activities. And so then I'll say, hey, here's what it is. Now, here's the kick in the head.
I love the kick in the head.
Yeah. Most of the time when we are asking questions, we have to be careful that we're not asking questions because we want to bend the answer to what we internally want to do anyway.
That part.
Because we can kind of couch that question in a certain way, and we will avoid asking those that we know will give us the straight answer. The minute you do that, you got to check yourself.
Yep. I think that's exactly right. You got to have truth tellers who are around you. Yes. And so, and you have to know when it's time to pause, right? And people who are in integrity and who are offering you things will not only understand, but they will support your decision to be sure about whatever it is you're doing. And so, like we both shared before, sometimes there are reasons for scarcity, right? If you and people should be honest when stating that there's scarcity. Sometimes I have supported businesses and they've had launches and they've made it very clear they were trying to hit a number goal by a particular time, right? So as a business owner trying to have her first $100,000 month, and so she was short of a particular amount of money, and so she was offering a sale, and that sale was going to end at this particular time because the reason for this particular discount was because she was trying to hit this number. I respect that, right? That is an honest, and I can get excited about it and pop on it or not, right? Or again, if someone's hosting something and there's a limited number of seats or a limited number of people who they want to train because they know how to be most effective, those things work. But folks who are just using it to manipulate your emotions so that you buy into something is something to think about. Right. And again, back to the root of this question, if someone has said something to you and the Lord has said for you to do this and move in this way, I don't say discount it, but if you have an inkling and it's not a confirmation, then pause and take it back to the Lord.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I love this conversation and this, you know, tying it into so that everybody understands the context of our conversation. And for those of you who are just tuning in, whether you're live or on the replay, I guess you can't really just kind of tune in. You'll see it from the beginning, but type in replay. But for those of you who are just tuning in now in the live broadcast, we're talking about mastering your media, and we're going over the gamut of media, from digital media, print media, you know, traditional, non-traditional, and all of that. And the statement that I want to make here is We too often go to master our media without really mastering our message, mastering ourselves.
Yes.
Okay. And so in that process, we go for all of the gizmos and the gadgets out there instead of really fine tuning and understanding what am I here to do inside of my enterprise?
Right.
What value do I bring to the marketplace? And why am I the one, okay, or we, if you've got a team that you work with, why have we been given this? First of all, have we been given this to do? And if so, what's the purpose? When you
Yeah.
understand that at a very deep level, then it really cuts away all of the other stuff to where you come to the marketplace with a very pure message. And then you find that the media begins to attract itself to you. Because
That's right.
when you are clear, not only are you able to say, well, this is what I do, I help people tell their stories, I help them plan their media out so that when they show up, the story that they know themselves to be and the story that they tell is consistent across the board. I don't care whether it's the branding, whether it's your logos, whether it's the copy on your site, the copy in print, what you say in sound bites when you're out in public, your speaking notes, your agenda, all of those things are tied into one thing. And this is what I help you do is create continuity with all of your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are now looking at what you do in your marketplace and you can get it really concise, then the media is attracted to you because, and not that you don't do your due diligence in market, you do, but you market with a very clear and pure message. The media now can trust that when you get on their platform,
That's
you're
right.
going to be good for their audience.
That's right.
Okay. If you're not good for their audience, it wastes their money, damages their credibility, damages yours also, but you're secondary when it comes to that conversation because they already have an established platform. You're wanting to be on it. So
That's right.
you've got to be able to now show up and then tell them how you're going to help them
Yep.
do what they do best to benefit their audience so that their audience comes back and brings more people with them. When you have that down, you're a shoe-in for them to get it. It's no mystery. If you're good for their business, then their business is good for your business.
That's it. That's it. And when I hear you share that, I mean, to me, it really distills into master your message
Yeah.
before you master the media, right? Master your message. And how can you master your message, right? We're talking about social media. One way to master your message is to use social media platforms to fine tune your message, to make sure that your message is connecting with
Yeah.
the people who you've been called to serve, because
Mhm.
you're in relationship with people, right? Because you're communicating with people. So social media allows you to show up mastering your message so that you can then master the media. So that you
Absolutely.
can with something that actually feels good and helps you to build the business or do
Mhm.
the work that you've been called to do with a sense of joy, with
Yes.
a sense of fulfillment,
Yes.
because you're not trying to create something. You
Mhm.
are simply
Mhm.
being who you were born to be, doing the good works that have been prepared for you, right?
Mhm.
Connecting the people who are called to learn and hear your work or see the work that you're doing so that their lives might be changed. And like you just said, the media then becomes it becomes a way to expand. We were talking
Mhm.
about media earlier today and some things
Mhm.
that I'm thinking about with Faith Focus Flow. And then it becomes, once you have, to your point, mastered your message, gotten clear about your message, then it really is, how do I serve more people? Now I want to serve more people, and I'm mastering this media so that
Somebody
I
write that down, please. Somebody write that down. How do
oh,
I
yeah,
serve more people? That I
yes,
love that statement right there. That's a definite quotable. That should be the premise of your business. How do I serve more people? Oh,
yeah,
I love that, TC. That is
yeah.
awesome. That is awesome. So, TC, you've got something in the works that is really exciting stuff. And I would like to bring that to the conversation.
Oh, well, I do. I'm so excited. Thank you for the
Mhm.
opportunity to talk. We've been talking about Faith Focus Flow, right, throughout the
Mhm.
night. and how it really started with a challenge, and
Yes.
a challenge in the book, and a book in the community, and then more books. And so I have done various collectives
Mm-hmm.
for leaders, teaching leaders how to dial into their own kind of way of doing business so that
Yeah.
they are living out who they say that they are at work. And so what I've done and what we're doing, bringing all of those trainings together, the best of the trainings of the past, and a platform for how I'm moving forward. So I should say one of the big words and big focuses on how we are teaching Bible-based business practices in my community and my work is through a concept of alignment, right? Having alignment be a model for
Mm-hmm.
how a foundation for how we're building everything. And so everything has come together
Mm-hmm.
into a brand new initiative. It's kind of as a build out of the things we've done before. It's called the Faith Focused Flow Leaders Institute. I'm so excited about bringing this to our community, the Institute to our community. And in the Institute, in the Faith Focused Flow Institute, we have a masterclass series. That's kind of our foundational work where you can come
Mm-hmm.
in and work with me for 7 weeks, members of my team, as we go through what I call align to impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Align so that you can increase your impact. And then there's a larger membership community in the Institute. Every month, we have a high impact business forum. First
Mm-hmm.
Saturday of every month is a 2-hour teaching with me and other leaders, faith-based leaders who are in non-religious business sectors. We
Mm-hmm.
have co-working sessions. One of the things I used to love to do on Periscope, and folks seem to love it, they would join me. We would have kind of like music, play music, and folks were just working together. Well, thanks to the power of Zoom, we're bringing that into like a co-working situation. So if you need company to help you stay focused, there's co-working, there's the business forum, there are monthly Bible reading plans. And so one of the questions was like, how do you deal with when people tell you that the Lord has told them to tell you to do stuff? And I mentioned being in the Word is one way, the best way to be able to discern.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer and study to discern what is truth and what is not. So every month, members of the Institute get a Bible reading plan.
Yeah.
And Bible reading plan is around a business theme. And the goal is, so my pastor at Alfred Street Baptist Church, Pastor Wesley, likes to tell us, he doesn't tell us what to think. He just wants to make sure that we are thinking, right?
Right.
And so a part of the Bible reading plan is to give you scripture passages to think about, right?
Mm-hmm.
To think about how they might apply to your business around a particular theme. So we have that. I think there are a couple more things. There's a library with the
Mm-hmm.
best of all of the tools that we have created. So it's all in our Faith Focus for Leaders Institute. I've said a lot of things, but we've created a client journey map. So
Oh my
depending
God.
on the
Yes.
level at which you come into our program, we tell you step by step how to maximize the resources that are available for you in the Faith Focus Flow Leaders Institute so that you can be aligned. You can align I like to say, your values with your business,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can
Mm-hmm.
align who you are, what you say you believe, with what the word of God says, and have that be in alignment with how you do business. So we have the tools to help you be aligned. We've talked about social media. I love
Mm-hmm.
online business. And I think it's a way that you can support the people who
Right.
you serve. And so we have modules and lessons about how do you maximize digital tools and automation so that you are
Mm-hmm.
showing up, your business shows up, showing that it cares for people,
Yeah.
right? And you don't have to do all of the work. You can set things and let them go. And then another big part of what we train and help people do and in the Institute is around social media communications, what we've been talking about, messaging, making
Mm.
sure that your message matches your mission,
Yeah.
right? That they are in alignment. So those are the broad areas. The number one goal, I should say, to sum it all up, the Faith Focus Flow Institute, we've created this whole community and program around helping you align your faith with your work. So everything I've shared points back to that core central mission, helping you align your faith with your work so that you can increase your impact, your influence, and your income. So I said a whole lot. I feel like I said a whole lot. I'm so excited about it.
That was amazing. I absolutely loved every syllable that you said, because it's one thing when folks just open up a business. It's another thing when folks open up business intentionally and they know what they're doing in their marketplace is impacting lives. And what you're providing is not only excellent business practices, but excellent business practices for those who want to understand how, as believers, they operate within the construct of what the Bible says, while still being able to operate in commerce and hopefully being a light to the world that God has given them to serve.
And Jason, I want to add, because yes, and what you said really pulls out what I think is different about what we're doing at Faith Focused Flow than what I see in the marketplace. So there are a lot of tremendous business owners who love the Lord. There are a lot of wonderful business coaches who teach from a Christ-centered perspective. But I haven't come across any who do it who teach about exactly how you apply the word to your practices and your thinking, so that you are living out your faith in your decision-making process. So our kind of corner in the marketplace is really teaching. Of course, we know how good the Lord is and how we need to pray and we need to do the things, right, that the Bible tells us to do. And I see that in the marketplace, and I'm so grateful for it. But the gap that I've seen, and this is why we do this work, has been applying the scripture, right? Applying the instructions of the Bible to, again, your business thinking. How do you make this? Because I'm a lawyer and this is how I think, we provide frameworks and formulas so that you can think about scriptures and the process of what to do, right? We talk about how to build systems, but I want our clients to think about, in creating a system, the foundation of the components of the system. Based on the word. And so that is what sets that's our work. That's what we've been called to do. I believe that's how my legal background, my legal training is coming to serve the marketplace and glorify the Lord, by allowing the way that I think and process inform how we teach people at a very fundamental level. And I'll just say this and I'll be done. Even the name of our community, the Institute, right? The Faithful Leaders Institute, is intentional, because we are a training center. We are a community. It's fun, an academy, but at the end, I want practicing law as a skill set, right? You have a skill set for doing it. I want the people who come through our program to develop a skill set for making Bible-based business decisions and doing business in a way where Bible-based business practices are founded. And it doesn't matter if people are believers or not. Big thing. You are a believer. Way that you can have people come working for you in your business who aren't yet believers, but they understand the system and the methodology for how we do things. And so your business is like, promoting character of Christ, and it doesn't matter who's following the system, because the output is the same. Is that clear? I'm using a lot of words.
It's perfect. What it's showing is that you are operating within the essence of who you are, what you believe, based on the word. So it's not like you have to, beat folks over the head with the Bible, or anything like that. It is that you are living it. You are operating it, your business, from those same principles. So then it just comes down to, like, a conversation of, hey, when I see the things that work, I'm seeing that they're applying these principles. So I just need to apply these principles. Well, if I apply these principles and my thing is working, maybe this thing that the principles came out of, maybe that works too. Maybe I could look a little deeper into that for the principles of my life. So, yeah. It comes down to you don't have to tell a person who's hungry to eat when you put food in front of them, a person who's thirsty to drink when you put water in front of them. You just say, well, there's the buffet table, take what you need, and then if they find that the food tastes good, they're coming back for more.
That's
And
right.
then they're like, well, why would I go to this other buffet that has maggots all over it? I'm going to this one right here.
And then they want the recipe, and they're
The
like, well,
whole recipe. How do I use this? How do I incorporate this in other aspects of my life? Yeah,
that's it.
absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. TC, I love you, sis. You're just awesome. Absolutely awesome. I love what you're doing. And as you all can see, why I absolutely just, totally respect what TC's bringing to the marketplace. She's just thorough and true about what she believes. She operates in very high integrity. I've seen the back end of the stuff that she's working on. It's amazing, and she has been consistent over the years that we've been knowing each other for like 5 years now. This is crazy,
It
you
is.
know? And so you just seeing what she does and has done and who she's inspired and how she's inspired them and how she walks in that same inspiration. I just thought that what a great person to be the first interview on the Master Your Media series. So thank you, TC, for showing up. Is there a website that you want to share that folks can go to? Okay, I'm going to let
Absolutely.
you do that.
Well, first, I want to thank you for inviting me and having me be the first guest on this series. You are an incredible market mover, media master. I've learned so much from you over the years. Even now, when I think about the things that we're starting to do on Facebook, I'm super excited about how we're showing up in that space thanks to you. Thanks to you, your knowledge, your generosity in teaching and sharing with your clients. So I can tell y'all from first hand knowledge, when you hire Jason, he cares about your business. He cares about the results that you get, the impact that you are making. He takes time to understand what you're trying to do and to give you the best way to get to that solution. So thank you, brother, for just your friendship over the years and for your expertise in helping us do more of our work. I appreciate it. And so I'll give you the main website so folks can go to faithfocusflow.com, and faithfocusflow.com will lead you to all of the exciting things that are happening at Faith Focus Flow. If you want to go straight to our brand new client training center, the Faith Focus Flow Leaders Institute. If you go to faithfocusflow.com/join us, that will take you directly to the page, but you don't need to do that. Just go to faithfocusflow.com. We have beautiful navigational boxes that will lead you to places. I want to invite you, if you haven't already, and you're not a part of our email list, join it. Right, you'll see where you can sign up for it right there on our website. Every weekday morning, we send out just a quick. Sometimes they're quick, sometimes they're a little longer, but I'm getting better. They're generally short.
The long ones are good too. So
sometimes, if I feel called to write more on a topic, I will. But generally, they're short. Bible-based business lessons or business inspiration just to get you started, right? To get you started, to help you frame your day. So sign up for our newsletter. I'm proud of the work that we're doing there. And I'm super proud and excited about what we are bringing to the marketplace through our institute. So thank you, Jason. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Well, again, thank you. Okay, so and hang out for a second, TC.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you all, there you have it. The amazing TC Cooper. She just does amazing work. She really loves what she does. If you couldn't tell, we didn't even scratch the tip of the iceberg of what it is, the knowledge that she has in her, and the passion that she has for doing what she does. I remember when Faith Focus Flow started, and I remember just the swell of folks that came behind it, and the amount of intention and attention that TC took with it. It just was just an awesome thing to see, and to watch what your friends are doing in front of you and unfold before your eyes. That's what I saw with Faith Focused Flow. From a concept to completion to cash flow. She started out with the book, then went to the workbook, and then continued to publish. She's got that down. It's like she's got the system down. So again, please visit faithfocusedflow.com. Take advantage of all the things that she mentioned here. And then for all of you who want to see more content like this, go ahead and follow me, because I'm on a mission now. I'm on a mission to right the wrongs of the industry and to put out valuable content that answers questions, gives you foundational information so that you understand that there is the legwork that you have to do ahead of time. There is no snap your finger and everything is done, put up a website in 5 minutes. There is intentional processes that have to take place in order to make sure that what you do is right and legal, so you don't get shut down from the FTC. There's too much garbage out there right now that people are getting hammered from, and they just don't know. Okay, remember I talk about the 4 quadrants of all possible knowledge. Things you know that you know, things you know you don't know, things you know that you don't know that you know, and then that 4th one, which is the kick in the head, the things that you don't know that you don't know, that you don't know that you need to know. It's not even on your radar. And that's where you need the mentoring. That's where you need those eyes and ears, the counsel of wisdom, so that they can say, hey, you know what? I see where you're trying to go. You're missing these key elements. And if you don't have those in place, it's going to really hurt you in the future. So put these things into place now. Here are the resources for those things that you need to put in place. Now implement those things so that you don't get caught, in the wrong vein when you're out there doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. So for those of you who want more content like this, go ahead, make sure that you like the page, facebook.com/TJH Media Ltd. There'll be more content to come. Again, thank you all for showing up. Love you all. I really mean that. I'll see you later.